Do you want to go do karate in the garage? Yep. Did we just become best friends?
All right, welcome. My name's Anthony. This is Alfredo.
Yep.
And did we just become best friends?
Yep.
All right, welcome to the podcast. It's a podcast where we're just a bunch of guys. Right now it's just two guys talking about anything that we come up upon. Mostly sports, video games. What else? Whatever.
Everything and anything but politics.
Yeah,
You
no
don't
politics.
discuss politics.
No politics. It gets too much. It gets too much with politics.
Right. It's ugly.
But yeah. We also talk about what's trending in the world today.
Right.
And also, there's a topic we want to talk about. We were talking about off air that something that everyone's dealt with, and it's in the news a lot today. Good news, bad news, funny, sad. And what you said is a little bit of both, of funny and sad.
Yeah.
You told me today. So why don't you go ahead and talk
We're
about it?
basically talking about teachers. So earlier today, I heard a story that a guy, nice-hearted dude, his students, 16, 17 years old, were taking a test early in the morning. So he decided, he's going to bring an iron skillet, electrical skillet from home. And while they're taking the test, he's making pancakes. So that everybody can have a pancake when they're done early in the morning. Cool move, right? Well, turns out he ended up getting suspended. Word got out, he got suspended without pay for that. The reason of suspension, he was too much of a distraction. Kids enjoyed it. Kids liked it. Kids are not liking it. Why he got suspended? They actually, there's like a little mini protest, something. But the teacher himself said he was afraid he was going to get fired. Well, it turns out that that was never the cause. He just was being disruptive, I guess they called it, during testing hours, which is not good because it might affect the student's grade. Me personally, I think it's a little too harsh. Maybe a warning or something, or if the student wants to do a redo or a do-over, have them do it. If they thought or they think the teacher was a distraction, they could do it over. The ones that think, no, he was fine, I was concentrated, he was, I didn't even notice it, that's fine. Let it go. But actually, suspension without pay, it sucks. Considering the fact that they don't get paid a lot. They don't get paid enough. Me personally, they don't. Now, everything with the new law, whatever, a lot of stuff, material that they pay out of their own pocket can no longer be tax deductible or tax write-off.
Oh, did they change that?
Yeah, it kind of sucks, But kudos to that teacher. I'm not going to mention any names. However, that's a teacher that's someone that should not be punished for doing the right thing. His heart was in the right place. Come on, guys. That's BS.
But I also feel like talking about that was when I was in high school. I went to a charter school, so the rules were a little bit different. And no, a charter school is not where like the bad kids go. It's privately ran to an extent. Stuff like that. There's a big controversy with that. I'm not even gonna go into if you don't or do like charter schools, but was before we took big tests like the ACTs and SATs, all that good stuff. They actually had us come in a little bit early and fed us. So you didn't have to, but they had like not like crappy lunch food. They had real like food. Like there's some bagels and cream cheese and some like real food because they knew like if you're sitting there on an empty stomach, you're probably not going to do well on the exam because you're hungry. I mean, this is life. Like when you're at work and you skip lunch for whatever reason, and you're on your 7th hour, it's 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and you just start craving food. Like you get distracted. You forget things, you do stupid things. And I feel being hungry is a distraction as well.
It is. I mean, hell, you got a good food. I end up getting those super donuts, super donut O's or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of you will know if you go to any grammar school, they're in the one donut, clear plastic bag, has a picture of a donut on it. You look like a superhero.
My only thing is like the teacher should not have done it while taking the exam, because that is a distraction. Mm-hmm. It's not, I think, losing your job or losing pay for, because he did have, the student's best interest at heart, I feel like, and he was being a good person, and being, a teacher caring about these kids and understanding stuff like that. Pancakes are good. Who doesn't like pancakes? I mean, and I think he was doing whole grain ones, which are healthy and blah, 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 and yeah, but maybe he should have done it before the test instead of during the test. Would have been a little bit thing. Mm-hmm. It's not that big of a deal, but yeah, I guess he thought he was gonna get fired because of the distraction, because he should be proctoring the exam. So basically, like, you're sitting there watching them instead of, he's not watching them as they take their tests. He's doing something else that's distracting himself to make sure they don't cheat. Which there's that, but I feel like, especially when I was younger, I felt like I can get away with things, and now that I'm older, I'm like, wow, I was stupid. It's like even if my teacher was doing something, I'm like, maybe I can do this. I can look over and like nudge somebody. And I'm like, hey, what's this? And it's silly, because like when everyone's quiet and everyone's in the same position, you can easily point out somebody who's doing something they shouldn't be doing. Right. Even if you're doing something else, even if this guy's making pancakes, which doesn't take a lot of brain power anyway, I mean, he's not sitting watching pancakes turn brown, I mean, but yeah, I mean, if somebody's going to cheat, they're going to try to cheat, and most likely they're going to get caught, especially when it's on like a standardized test, So I thought that was kind of silly.
I mean, I would just wonder if he was an actual teacher or a substitute trying to do something good. He's just a fill-in. Because I mean, substitute. Everybody knows this. If you as soon as you walk into a classroom and your teacher's not there and there's someone else, it's like, oh yes, it's a substitute. Everybody loves a substitute.
I don't know if they love the substitute, or do they love the situation because they think they can do things that they can get away with.
I mean, when a substitute is there, that's like the only day you get to sit anywhere you want. Because nothing's organized. There's no names on the desk. I'm the bad kid. I sit in the front, make sure the teacher has eyes on me. Oh, is it a substitute? No, my desk is way back there.
Yeah.
Behind this brick wall behind us.
That's why the situation that they're presented. It was like, oh, well, our teacher said, we're taking an extra break today. Right. And then kids say stupid stuff.
Recess, 2 lunches. Yeah.
Our teacher usually lets us do nothing for 8 hours. There's always those kids like trying to get away with it. And I feel those are the kids. You're ruining it. Like, you're taking a good situation and you're taking advantage of it, and you're ruining it. Like, oh, well, no, he said we can take a 4-hour nap. Like, that's just stupid. Like, little things. Like, oh, no, we only do, like, 15 questions instead of 50, Like, little things you can get away with.
It's funny you mention...
But they leave notes to each other. It's not like they don't know. Like, hey, today do this, and this. And they're like, okay.
That's the thing. I mean, that's the thing. Before I even knew this, teachers has logs. They have ledgers. They have weekly plans for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And they leave it there. They leave it in their office, in their desk, or like in the main office.
Well, now everything's electronic. So.
Oh, no. This is back then.
There
was a big ass book like that.
Yeah, I remember.
Thick, and they write down, the chapter 6, chapter 7, chapter 8, and history, English, blah blah blah. Oh man! And speaking of taking advantage of it, of course, moi over here. There was a time where we had a great substitute teacher. I can't remember his name. Every time he walked in, everybody got excited because this guy was cool. Okay,
so you already knew the teacher, the sub.
Yeah, everybody knew that he was famous. In our school, he was known to have great classes. Everybody wanted to be with him. You went in there and showed up with the principal or a teacher aide or some another teacher, and just start pointing. You. Leave the room. So what they did with those kids, left the room, they'll put them in another class for them to study, for them to, with the regular teacher, and just pick up what they're doing. The remaining of the kids in that class, the first half of the day, we study. Math, English, whatever. And he always said, if we get all this done, we get to relax. And when relax time came, usually after lunch, it was like the last 2-3 hours of the day, we colored. We had projects. Like we had group projects. It was fun. He made it fun. He made it interesting. You know, one of the things he did was we all had a piece of paper, construction paper. We colored lines, all different color lines, and then colored everything black. It was time consuming. But
What?
yeah, and then he colored everything black.
Okay.
Then with a nail, paper clip, he passed out paper clips. You could write your name, you write a design or whatever, and it showed your name or design through the colors. So basically with the paper clip, you're scraping off the black. And what's only piercing through is the colors.
Okay.
Really cool stuff.
Okay. Oh, that's kind of cool.
Well, one day, I guess he mistaken me for one of the bad students, and I
Never.
I always got pulled out. Only a couple classes I stood there. I would try to be nice, and I was, but no. I guess I hung around with the wrong crowd at the time, and I ended up getting stuck with other teachers doing work while everybody was having fun throwing paper airplane contests, which was one of the classes I missed. It was awesome.
So, as you're saying this, I'm like, this sounds familiar. Like, so everything you said was basically, except for like the sub part, basically a Simpsons episode. I don't know if you remember this.
No, well,
They're getting, I think the school is getting inspected. They're getting inspected. So with Skinner, he goes to the room and takes like Bart and all the bullies and takes them and like locks them in the broom closet. Do you remember this? Like locks them in the broom closet because he knows they're bad, you know. And I think they do some escape and they ruin everything and stuff like that. I'll try to find the clip and I'll edit it like right here.
yeah, this happened. I was like in, third grade,
Oh man.
fourth grade. So this is I don't know if the Simpsons were around 20 years, 30 years maybe.
Yeah, they've been around forever, dude.
So yeah, I think they first started coming out with a Tracy Ullman show. I don't know how I remember that.
Nah, that's like
Piece of useful information, useless information, by the way. But yeah, Tracy Ullman show. That's when they first came out.
yeah.
Yeah,
That is very similar to a
I
Simpsons
never
show.
knew
They're like,
that.
you come with me, and like I think he tricks them that they're gonna do something, and he like locks them in the janitor closet, and they get pissed off. And it's like that's the thing about school. It's like you have the baddest kids in class, but when you push them, like when you punish them, I want to say push them. When you punish them, and like you cut something out of their like activities or you cut something out of their life that they like, they become the smartest freaking people in the world. Like seriously, like I had a kid in high school who was just he was a bad kid, always in trouble. But it's like he used his smarts for evil. You know, it's like, dude, if you just did your homework instead of thinking up like this crazy excuse and like doing all this crazy stuff to get out of the homework, like it'd be way easier, you know. But I feel like those people also like the conflict, so they kind of do it on purpose.
they're the bad boys.
Yeah, but like they become like these you know. And I think that happened in the Simpsons episode. They get stuck in this closet and they become smart and they figure out how to escape and stuff like that. And then they ruin the day, you know. But yeah, it was like when you told me earlier, I didn't think about it. But now I'm listening to it, I'm like, wait. And then I feel like that's just like a thing. If you watch The Simpsons as much as I did, I think I watched every single episode, especially in like the late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, I watched them all the time. Mm-hmm. You know, the newer ones, not so much. I do watch them. I don't watch them like on repeat like I used to. But you can pretty much tie sometime in your life to a Simpsons episode. You know, there's sports. You know, like when Homer became a coach, and you're like, I remember that. I remember sitting there like, you're cut.
Oh my God!
You're cut. You
he
know, it's
cut
like
everybody.
he cut everyone.
Even the shush guy at the very end.
Yeah.
In the theater, the shush guy, you're cut.
But yeah, I mean, there's like sports. You can tie everything into the Simpsons episode. So yeah, so that was one thing I talked about. So yeah, but that's pretty messed up though. Either way, if it happened in real life or the Simpsons, that is messed up because you're pre-punishing somebody.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I know you're gonna cause trouble, So just come with me. I'm gonna put you in detention. I'm like,
Right,
but I
because
didn't do anything.
he's a known substitute, so he was known in school, and whenever there's a substitute teacher, we walked down the hall and we saw him. We're like, someone's getting pushed out.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna have a great time today. Now, you mentioned, if you take an activity from a bully or from a troublemaker or something, they become smart. I don't think so. I think they already are smart. You just need to find something to trigger. You need to find something to interest them, for them to get engaged, for them that wheels to go. They need that little push where they're on top of a hill, and if you push them hard enough or motivate them, that ball is going to go down the hill. They're going to pick up speed, and their brain's going to start moving.
But I feel like that's the thing. Is like they don't want to do what normal people do.
No,
and they don't push back until they start getting like, oh, hey, you can't do that, or hey, I'm gonna punish you for doing this,
right? And
then they become like geniuses. I mean, it's there, like you said, it's there.
My geometry teacher once, he said there two things always stuck out. When he always said this almost every day. Two things that stuck out the most. One, the smartest computer in the world is your brain. And the second thing is, you don't have to teach somebody. They could just stand in the back of the wall and watch what he does. Not explaining much. They will grab that concept because that's their computer working. And I seen it with my own two eyes. Some guy, he didn't get it. He didn't get the equation. He didn't get the math. He was just like, it was there. And then he told him, I believe that guy's name was Hector. He told him, just stand in the back of the wall. Don't worry about the rest. Just stand there. And he stood there. And I remember I was sitting towards the back, and he was like right here. He's like, wait a minute. So you mean? And then he explained to him. He's like, now your computer's working. So it's something that there's a fine line. Like it's like a car. Okay, every car has a high RPM. Mm-hmm. Some are lower, 7, 8, 9. Some are higher, 8 and 9. Whatever. There's this nice sweet spot, and every car is different, where you could shift perfectly, and it gains speed and it picks up speed. If you miss that shift up and down, it's gonna slow speed, reduce it. You might even burn out the trans. Now, every student's like that. Every person is like that. You need to find that little sweet spot where it gets them engaged, where it gets them encouraged, it gets them like not to be afraid to be wrong because they want to be right. If they found something like that, just like this teacher did, they became smart because then they know to behave next time. When the teacher comes in and they got to report, hey, he was bad last time. Let's see how he does this time.
Yep.
Let's see what he does in the schoolwork. But, it was a good and bad. I guess it was a contract. I guess that was his part of his agreement with the teacher, with the school district. I don't know what. I don't want to teach any bad kids. So when I go in there and if I see a bad kid, I'm going to pull him.
Yeah, well, usually those are people that would take advantage.
Right.
Easier. But then talking about that, like, that's another Simpsons thing, Like, Bart is put in a weird situation, and the only thing he has to do is memorize, I think, the planets, or memorize something. And he winds up getting an A on the exam. Mm-hmm. And he's like, to him, he goes, they're stupid. Like, I aced the test by cheating. I memorized everything. Like, that's studying. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's another Simpsons reference.
I mean, talking about bad kids, you remember about that old lady? She was a monitor or a teacher, and all the kids started bullying her, and they ended up making a GoFundMe page to raise $5,000. It went viral.
I remember this.
She was an old lady, man. Mm-hmm. She was like her mid-60s, early 70s. And she was either a monitor or a teacher, and it turns out all the kids started picking on her, talking crap, talking down, where the lady herself began to cry. And then that's when everybody made fun of her. It was viral.
Yeah, it gets worse.
You're right. It got worse. It went viral.
It happened in my school.
It happened in my school. Someone ended up making a GoFundMe account for this lady to like $5,000. just $5,000, just go take a vacation, whatever. They end up raising $315,000 for this lady.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Buy a house and a vacation.
She ended up just taking a nice little long vacation because she wanted to go back to school to teach.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. $315,000 on a teacher salary. That's a lot of years of teaching.
Yeah. It is what it is, but yeah, there's another teacher that I saw in the news. So the pancake teacher was trying to help. This teacher, I don't know what he was doing.
Well, let's see. What's the opposite of helping?
He started a fight club in class.
Oh, jeez.
He said that he was an idiot because he wanted to befriended them. He wanted to be friends with the students. I don't know why. I mean, especially I don't see why. Like an adult cannot be especially an adult in charge cannot be a friend of a child. That's not how it works.
I'm guessing this guy is like in his early 20s, late 20s. Like.
Early 20s, at 23. I'm not gonna say his name. And these are high school students, right?
Oh, even worse. He just graduated high school. How the hell is it?
No, yeah, he just got out of school himself. So he would have them fight it out, and he's doing multiple charges of a bunch of stuff, endangerment and blah blah blah. Excuse me. So yeah, he had recorded them. They recorded themselves because everything's recorded now, and yeah, it's insane. Like I don't know, like how is like, oh, I want them to be cool with me, so I'm gonna let them fight. Like what?
There's
like,
more ways of gaining friends.
Well, like if you want to do that, like, hey, go join like a boxing club, or
let's
like
all go take a field trip.
I mean, there's just some ways you just don't. You don't. So let's see. There's one thing. So police started investigating the alleged fight club in December when a social worker reported a 15-year-old student was traumatized after being robbed and beaten by his classmates.
What the hell? He allowed robbery?
I don't know. And he goes, so he would allow students to battle it out while other students recorded on their cell phones and cheered. It's like this one. And then I think there's a point I remember hearing it that he actually himself like moved a garbage can out of the way to let them keep going.
Holy shit.
And yeah, it's crazy. I was like, that is nuts. And I don't know the details on like, was it just guys? Was it after school, or was it like during the class? I mean, if it was during the class, then there'd be like a good amount of kids in there, right? I mean, and not just boys,
right?
It'd be girls too. And it doesn't say anything like that, but
this I think he was way too young to be a school teacher. First of all, and this is I don't know if I'm going to regret saying this, but I'm going to go and say it. Teachers should have a minimum of maybe 10 years of teaching. Where they teach, where they begin to teach, I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to pick.
But then again, you have all these teachers in their mid-20s, early 20s having sex with their students also. I mean, is a student of a 17, 18-year-old student, let's go 16, 17, because that's when everything starts, to go. They see a teacher who's 23, hot-looking, I mean, come on now. She's going to bend over, she's going to lean, she has a little bit more cleavage, it's cold that day. They're going to make advances. Now, if that teacher was 50, 60 years old, you think that kid's gonna have the same intentions? No,
but then I feel like if an adult allows that, then they got problems to begin with. Because I'm like, man,
23, I think it's a little bit too young to be.
Because when I was in school, most of my teachers were about that same age. They most of them never taught. Some of them weren't even like licensed teachers because we were at a charter school. You don't have to be in the union. Mm-hmm. But I mean, and some of my friends know, like, there's a couple hot teachers, and I'm like, I wanted to be in her class, hopefully she's not listening, But
Hi, miss.
yeah, no, not saying names. But yeah, I mean, and we weren't that far of an age difference. I mean, realistically, I mean, if like we were start dating, just theoretically start dating right now, no one would bat an eye. They're like, oh yeah, they're both like in their 30s, you know, and at this point, like no big deal. But then, you know, like a 5-year age gap, you know, between a 17-year-old and, you know, a 23 like ish, you know, was that 5 years ish, was it 6 years, something like that. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that was a big thing, but I feel like if a 23-year-old can be like won over by the shitty moves of a 17-year-old boy, there's problems. There's problems. I'm like every 16, 17, 18-year-old guy thinks like they're the king of like smoothness, you know. But I'm like, yeah, you don't know nothing. Yeah, like back then I was like, I didn't know nothing. You know, I was like. But I'm like, yeah, well, 23 is gonna be like, oh, I like what he said. What did he say? He's as dumb as a bag of dicks. I was like, what? Like, literally, like, what can he say there? You're like, oh my god, I'm turned on right now. I was like, what? You know? So I feel like that is a different situation, because this guy, I mean, I don't know, like what, like you should be looking at like where did he go to school at? How are they teaching people? Like, are they teaching like, oh, you need to be the kid's friends in order to teach well? You know, it's like, you know, and a lot of my teachers, they were young, and they were amazing teachers. You know, like I think for the most part, almost all of them. There's a couple I was like about, like I don't know, but for the most part, yeah, they're all like young and brought like a new style that I wasn't used to. Because elementary school, they were all older teachers. So having these younger, going from like old teachers who were like almost going to retire to like brand new teachers that never taught before, right out of college, they understood, I think, and they made it easier to learn because they put in things that were like more that like held our attention a little bit better. So that's why I felt like. So I'm like, age doesn't matter too much when it comes to something like that. As long as you have a good head on your shoulders, I feel like that's okay. Obviously, this guy with the Fight Club did not have a good head on his shoulders.
No.
But like even the teacher with the pancakes, you know, he was kind of thinking out of the box and like, hey, kids, it's early in the morning. Kids need breakfast. Let me feed them. So they're not taking a test on an empty stomach, you know. And I can say firsthand, I'm in my 30s, and the other day I took a test, and I was hungry, and I was like halfway through the test, and I'm like, I need some like Subway right now, you know. And I was like, I wasn't thinking about the question. I was thinking, I'm gonna order a rotisserie chicken, I'm gonna toast it and some onions and get a peanut butter cookie. I wasn't thinking about that, and that's like me in my 30s. Imagine like a kid like that, you know. That don't want to be there. Like I want to be there. I'm paying to take this test. You know, like these kids in high school, you know, they have to be there. So it's definitely different. But
should have just ordered Domino's.
Yeah, right. Food. Yeah.
You ever seen Fast Times in Ridgemont High or something like that?
Man, a long time ago. You
really dating yourself. Sean Penn. They didn't even order a pizza to the class.
Yeah, in the classroom.
Jeez. And then
yeah.
Oh well. There was one I just remembered. Go ahead.
But no, one of my teachers. I don't want to say it was a guy, and I'm a very few guy teachers in elementary school. Man, I think I only had 2 in elementary school. But and then if any like you know Omar Manny, they're watching, they'll remember him. He would sit in the front, just like with this big brush, kind of you know. Brush for his hair, and it's like mumble, you know, and he's all pissed off, and he's like, you know, like brushing his hair, you know, and he didn't have any hair, he had like really short, like nothing, and you're talking about like torturing a teacher. I felt bad for this guy because I remember like we were pretty bad, and then spitballs. There was like one of my friends though. So the teacher, we had a weird closet, so he went into the closet to get something, and it's like a walk-in closet, like it's like behind his desk in the front of the class. And then one of my friends, Mario, was sitting by the window. And we had those ugly green pull down shades. Right?
Yeah, I think that was school standard.
Yeah, that was like a school, with those ugly, windows, bulletproof, plexiglass windows. So he had to pull down, and then I don't know how, like, all of us, like, he was a friend. I mean, we didn't pick on him. Everyone just kind of like messed with each other. But for whatever reason, I think we all decided, he was sitting all the way on the other side of the class by the window. We all like got ready, and as soon as the teacher left, we just turned around and just like annihilated Mario with these spitballs. Like the teacher comes back, and you just see a silhouette of spitballs on the green pull down screen. And it was just, I mean, there's just so many spitballs in the wall, and it's not a quiet thing. If you ever did a spitball, like we get the ballpoint pen, and then take out all the insides, and you just have just the tube, and you're just like, and then you hear, and it's just slobbery, mess everywhere, and it's clear across the room. Now he hears, and it's like it all just like smacks. And I forget, I think he said something stupid, Mario, and then the teacher comes out, and he's just looking, and there's just a bunch of spitballs on the wall, and and yeah, I remember that. We still talk about that every so often.
Geez, that's
funny. And the teacher would just sit up in class like, and then brush his hair, and I'll never forget about that. That was bad.
Well, I had a teacher once where it was nothing like that, but he will get pissed off at a student and will throw an eraser. The chalkboard.
Oh yeah.
Now he'll deliberately not clean the erasers because after a while you stick your arms out the window and let whatever.
For the audio listeners that are young, it wasn't always dry erase boards. It was chalk.
It was chalk.
So when you use the chalk eraser, the debris, the dust,
the powder,
the powder got stuck in
the actual
eraser. So you would have to like slap it, and then remove a lot of the dust.
Mm-hmm. Just how you dust the carpet.
Yeah, like you take it outside and kind of hit it.
So he'll deliberately not do that, but you clean the board. Well, there were times where there was stop doing this, stop doing that, whatever. There was one girl, she continued. And he warned her, cut it out. Just pay attention, stop talking, whatever. And he turned his back, and he grabbed it, and like Baez move, he just grabbed the eraser and chucked it. Oh my God, he chucked the hell out of this. She saw it coming, so she ducked. But when she ducked, it landed on her desk the same time she went down. All I saw was like a big cloud of chalk dust everywhere. She had chalk dust on her face.
Oh, it had to be like in her mouth, down her throat.
Oh yeah,
inhaled it.
It was in her hair, on her clothes. It was funny. Yeah. The whole class just busted out laughing because all you saw was an explosion. And there's this white girl, just all covered. White. Yeah, she was a chalkboard white. And there were times where he threw it in the back of the class, and to my buddy Mars, I'm saying his name because he's cool. He chucked it, and he saw it coming. He ducked and went right out the back window.
Nice.
He looked. He's like, "You got another one?" So yeah. I mean, we used to toy with them. We used to put in chalk. In erasers, they were divided. They had 4 lines. I don't know if you ever saw the bottom eraser. Yeah, had 4 individual lines. The chalk was thin enough where you could. Oh yeah. So when people do erase, you see how this line. It's like whatever, haha. Yeah. So we were not nice, but we weren't mean to the point where you throw freaking erasers at kids.
Nowadays that won't that's instant fired. If making a pancake would get you suspended, throwing an eraser at a student will get you fired today. I guaranteed it.
Yeah, it was nuts, man. It was
guaranteed.
It was good times.
But
good times.
Yeah, it was fun. I think we'll end it there with the violent teacher throwing stuff. If you guys have any stories about your teachers, about you being a teacher, or at any grade level, please tell us. Put in the comments. Let us know. And we'll see. We'll chat about some old experiences that we had. It should be fun.
If you're a teacher or know anybody that is a teacher, want to come out and join us, and we could just rehash this episode, and it'd be nice.
Alex, actually, Alex works for a school. He's
Really?
I think he's a dean now. Yeah. So he.
Alex?
Yeah.
That Alex?
Yeah.
Get out. Kudos, man.
Yeah.
Congrats.
He works at a school. He's I forgot. I think he's a dean of discipline or something. Which is funny because you're talking about like a guy who was a class clown and definitely made me think. Now he's punishing those kids.
He has the inside track.
Before I know I was supposed to end it, but I follow him on Snapchat. And he put a video of the rugby kids because he's like an assistant coach for the rugby team. He's sitting in his car recording the kids. He goes, "Look at all these lazy kids, man." He goes, "They should be running. They should be warming up." He goes, "Watch, as soon as they see me, they're gonna like start running and start warming up like they've been doing it for hours." And then the next clip is him walking out to the field, and you see all the kids running. And I messaged him. I'm like, "You cannot get mad at them because we did the same exact thing, man. Like we did the same exact thing. Like especially I'm like, and we waited until the actual coach came. If you were an assistant coach, we're like, yeah, you're just an assistant. You're not
the real guy.
And so I'm like, you can't get mad at that. We did that,
Right.
And I'm like, man, he has to enforce all these things that we did, as dummies back in the day. So yeah, that was kind of funny. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Yeah. If you have any stories, please leave it in the comments on any of the platforms. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Please share. We really, really appreciate it to get the word out. Hopefully, we can become a little bit bigger, and get a better studio than my basement and a screen.
It's a nice basement, by the way.
Yeah, well, it's gonna get fixed up eventually. But
I mean, you can't see its weights there. There's a nice little open workout area.
But
Lights.
yeah. But I mean, that's the thing. Please share so we can get a little bit bigger. Yeah, really appreciate it. So we're on Google. If you want just audio, Google, iTunes, Podomatic, Radio Public, YouTube as well. All this stuff is gonna move from my personal channel to a dedicated channel just for the podcast. And sometime soon, by the time this comes out, we should have a Facebook and Instagram and everything like that. So please follow us on all our social medias.
Please do.
Which will be in the description below, down here somewhere. And yeah. Any final thoughts?
To all you teachers out there, kudos. Life is rough out there. You guys are doing a great job. Keep your head up. No fight clubs, no eraser throwing, because that's coming out of your pockets. But yeah, I just want to thank all the teachers out there for the hard work. Everybody out there, getting taught by these people. Just think, they got lives too, and one day you're gonna make more than them. That doesn't mean to talk down to them or fight them or tease them, because they're doing something they want to do and they love to do, which is help you get better as a student. So teachers, keep going, rock hard, don't give up.
And any teachers that want to come and vent about some of their past students, I'm all about those stories as well.
Yes, that'd be fun.
Thank you, and that is it for this episode.
Yes, sir.
Don't forget to subscribe for next episode, and we will see you then. All right, goodbye.
See you later, guys. Bye.
Let's play a game. Name your favorite dinosaur.
Favorite non-pornographic magazine to masturbate to?
Don't even think about it. Just name it. Ready?
You want to go do karate in the garage? Yep. Did we just become best friends?